The question that seems to come to us, perhaps in our teen years, perhaps earlier or later, or much later, or again, is who am I? What am I here for? What is my purpose? Or as Burt Bacharach wrote for Dionne Warwick, what's it all about, Alfie? These questions can bring on feelings of despair when we think we don't have the answer, for the questions seem too big for us. That's part of the anguish of the experience of our teenage years, moving from childhood to adulthood, and no one gave us a map. Or if they did, because we were teenagers, we threw it away because it was their map and we wanted our own map. So these questions urge us on as we try to decide what we're going to do. As teenagers, we think about, are we going to go to college or not? And if we do, what's going to be our major? What track are we going to follow? What are we going to study? Are we going to get married? Are we going to have children? Are we going to strike out on our own? It's a time of great questioning, of examining who we are and where we fit. Our teen years may have been very uncomfortable for us, for it is for many. And if you're experiencing some of that discomfort right now, thinking about it, I promise you, I'm not going to leave you there. But we remember our teen years or our early 20s. I know I do. And I remember being envious of my friends in high school who knew already exactly what they were going to do before they graduated. They were going to become a dental hygienist or a physical therapist or a doctor. That's where some of my friends were headed. And I felt in a way, in many ways, that I was floundering because I didn't have a plan like that. I didn't have a clear vision in my mind or a burning desire to do something specific or to accomplish a specific goal. Perhaps you were like me. Or perhaps you did have a goal. Perhaps you were one of those individuals who I found myself being envious of, who knew early on exactly what your life would look like after high school. And yet, even those who were certain early on often found themselves questioning their lives later, even after all the accomplishments and the accolades, asking the question, is this all there is? What am I here for? What am I meant to do? What is it within us that brings these questions to our minds, that tugs at our hearts? And we can try to ignore it for a while. And we can try to fill that void with something or someone that we think will make it go away, that will remove the question, that will fill us up. Food, chocolate. I give chocolate its own category separate from food. Drugs, alcohol, relationships, careers, degrees, all sorts of distractions that do nothing in the long run to fill that place in our hearts that feel empty. And yes, a relationship can be fulfilling, but it still comes down to us. Raising children is fulfilling, but it still comes down to us as individuals. And I say, thank God for that empty feeling. Yes, thank God. For you know the saying, you've heard it too, not all who wander are lost. The wanderers, the seekers are committed to discovering their own personal truth. Yes, we might follow a guru, or we might dabble in this religion or that religion, trying to find a theology that will answer all of our questions. We might still be looking for a map, the directions, a recipe, something that will clearly tell us what to do, where to go, how to sit, how to hold our hands. And there are religions out there, there are faith traditions that will guarantee that they have the answers for you, all of the answers. And that's one of the unique aspects of unity. We don't attempt to tell you what to think or to change your mind about anything. We instead offer you tools and support for thinking for yourself, for asking those difficult questions and sitting with the answers, as uncomfortable as those answers might be. For we hold the knowing that you are wise beyond your years. You are wise beyond your years, that the answers to all of your questions are within your inner reach, not outer. Turn within your inner reach. And when we do that, does that void still exist within us? That place that feels empty? No. I don't believe so. Not when we truly recognize and accept the presence of the divine within us. For there was never a void there, only of a forgetting of who we are. There was never a true emptiness, just the space of allowing us to remember our truth, a forgetting that the very essence of God resides within the core of our being. Probably no one told us that. No one explained it that way. And so it felt empty in our mind because our ego wants us to think that it's in charge. It is not. God is, spirit is, divine love is, universal love. All that is. And when we open our minds to that knowing, our heart is flooded with the warmth of that knowledge. Absolutely flooded with the warmth of that understanding. We're glowing with the understanding of our relationship with God and with one another. And as we follow the teachings of all the great masters, the master prophets, the ones inspired by God, we know what to do. Jesus said, seek God first and love one another. The Apostle Paul told the church in Thessalonica, may the Lord make your love increase and overflow for each other and for everyone else. Love one another, love oneself, love all. Small acts of kindness with great love changes us, blesses others, and uplifts our world. We love through action and through being in service. Service to the greatest good of all. We serve in love and we love to serve. One of my favorite sayings. We serve in love and we love to serve. For what was it about Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? What did Mahatma Gandhi have that transformed an empire? What did Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. have that transformed a nation? And what is it that you and I have that can transform our world? Gandhi and King had what's called, or could be called, a soul force, a belief that no force can overpower love in action. A belief that no force can overpower love in action. Our souls, too, can be trained as an agent for change as we develop our ability to love, to be loved, and to be loving. Our commitment to be loving shows up in our choices, in our decisions, and in our actions, just as the commitment to be loving and to be in service was reflected in the lives of Gandhi and King and so many others, including people in the very room where you sit now. Ram Dass made famous the saying or the motto, love, serve, and remember. And the name Ram Dass means servant of God. Now, I met Ram Dass twice, actually, and was privileged to hold a conversation with him. And I know there are those who do not approve of his methods, especially experimenting with LSD with Timothy Leary, being a professor at Harvard. That got him fired. But the man I met was far from this rebellious youth, although he still had very much a twinkle in his eye, and delight in his composure, delight in connecting with people. When I met him, he was recovering from the stroke that he had in 1997 that left him confined to a wheelchair for the remainder of his life. And he passed away just 2 years ago at the age of 88. His book in 1971 was revolutionary. The book Be Here Now. It combined Eastern mysticism with Western psychology in a usable practice of spirituality. It kind of sounds like unity, doesn't it? He was able to mix the Eastern practices of wisdom, of love, and compassion in a language that was understandable to us Westerners. And he did not come across as an all-knowing guru, but as a seeker himself. Love, serve, and remember. Love one another, serve the highest good, and remember who you are. Remember that you are love. You are the very essence of love. You are the expression of love in this world. And remembering can be the hard part. That's why we gather together every week. If I forget who I am, if I forget I'm a precious child of God, you remind me. If you forget that you are abundantly blessed, someone will hold that truth for you. We come together to heal, to love, to feel the strength of the community, and to be reminded of our divine nature. And when difficulties arise, and they will, because we are part of the human condition as well, we need to remember all the more. We are reminded to live and love out loud, to allow the love we are to overflow from us into the world, into any frustrations that we might be having, any difficulties. I was supposed to be with you there today in person. Arkansas gets very little snow usually, and the state is not equipped to deal with much snow. Therefore, my flights on Thursday were canceled twice, both morning and afternoon. My flight on Friday was canceled. My flight on Saturday was canceled. I hope to be flying tomorrow. My intention is to be there very soon. Now, I could have lost myself in the frustration, and I will admit to you that I did experience some measure of frustration. And I also looked at the gifts. At least my flights were canceled before I got to the airport, so I didn't have the drive and then the sit and the wait. I was also reminded very much in my remembering that all are love, my remembering with my connection with the divine and with one another, to ask for help. People are happy to help when they know what you need. And I was reminded that it's not about me. I am part of the leadership of the church. I am your spiritual leader. However, the leadership of this church encompasses so many individuals, so very many. And our annual membership meeting this afternoon will occur without my being physically present, without a hiccup. I am confident. Not being there over the past few days allowed others to step in and to participate in ways that they would not have if I'd been present. I was to attend a celebration luncheon on Friday. I couldn't be there. And so Nancy Mishka attended and had a wonderful time. I was to kind of facilitate the workshop, the Kindness Rocks workshop yesterday that was actually being led by a friend of mine in Wichita via Zoom. I wasn't there. Janet Smith stepped right into that role. Today for the meeting, there were several things that I was going to do to get prepared, paperwork, things to be printed, information to share. It all got done without me being present. It's all good. We are a leadership team, not one person that makes or breaks our community. It reminded me, love, serve, and remember. Where in love, serve, and remember is frustration. It's not there. Love, serve, and remember. For the everlasting truth is that's what really matters. The love we give, the love we receive, and the love that we leave behind us. This day, this week, this month, this year, tell someone, tell multitudes that you love them, and then do something loving. This afternoon at our annual membership meeting, we'll consider what that might look like, how that might outpicture for us as a spiritual community, how to love, serve, and remember as a community. That's what we're here for. That's why we're here. And we are up to the task. I believe this with all my heart because I believe in you. And so it is.